Hello and welcome back to Four Wheels Good. Now, you've heard of the X-Files, but I'm joined now by Ian and Corrina White, producers of a video learning programme for motorists, the L-Files. Very welcome into the Four Wheels Good studio, but surely you're veering away from the traditional way of teaching learner drivers now. This is a new concept, isn't it, Ian?
Well, the theory test came in about 18 months ago, and now learner drivers have to do quite a searching theory test, written test, before they go on the road. So what we decided to do was a package that would train the learner drivers up to a high standard, ready for that theory test. Originally, the theory test was fairly easy to pass. About 90% were passing it first time. But then they raised the pass mark.
Oh yeah, they couldn't have people passing it.
Well, that's right. Now you've got to get 30 out of 35 to pass. And therefore only about only about 1/3 are passing it first time. 2/3 are failing. That equates to over about 50,000 a month of failing the theory test. So we decided to do a very comprehensive package that would prepare learner drivers for the test properly.
Right, what are your qualifications then? Why should we listen to you?
Well, I've been a Department of Transport driving instructor for 10 years now. And my husband has taught everything but learner drivers.
Right, so you teach them how to pass the test, and then you say, forget all that, this is how you should drive.
That's right.
Yeah. So between you, you've got experience of teaching people at all levels of driving.
That's right.
But
Yes.
this is the package that you were talking about, the L-Files, and it's huge, isn't it, really? What's in it? What's in it?
Well, it consists of a video that's 3 hours long, but it's only meant to be watched in sections. It's not really a video, it's a distance learning package. And you watch a section of the video, and then you go to the relevant section in the workbook that also refers you to the highway code that we've included. Also in the package is an application form for a provisional driving licence, the theory test and the practical test, a competition entry form, and about half a dozen other leaflets of interest. So what we tried to make it is a very comprehensive package that people could buy off the shelves and study for the theory test in the comfort of their own home and gradually work through it. But we didn't just want to prime them for the test, so we covered a lot of areas in some detail that perhaps take the learner beyond what he or she needs to know.
OK, let's have a look at it.
Problems start when you try to mix drinking with driving. Like oil and water, the two simply don't go together. And yet disappointingly, a substantial proportion of all fatal road accidents, nearly 1 in 7, involve drivers who are over the legal limit.
First, let's look at the legal limit, and it's really a question of take your pick. It's simply not possible to equate the number of drinks you can have and still be under the limit. All these drinks here contain roughly the same amount of pure alcohol in normal pub measures, but it's impossible to say how many of each you could have and still be under.
So that's an interesting movement away from the traditional way of teaching.
That's right.
Drink driving, isn't it? Why is that in it?
That's right. Well, it covers the whole aspect of driving. I mean, that particular clip was drinking and driving. It covers tiredness, all sorts of things that involve when you're actually learning to drive in motorway sections, night driving if you're tired. So that particular section was very, very important. And obviously youngsters nowadays need to be aware of drinking, driving, drugs, etc.
We'll talk about youngsters in a second and motorway driving, if I may, but you've got some news for us about the drink limit, haven't you?
Well, the drink limit may well change in the very near future. We're a little bit out of step with Europe. Our limit is 80, whereas the rest of Europe is 50. And consequently, there are moves afoot, and it's basically a foregone conclusion that by about Christmas, the limit will drop to about 50, and therefore bring us into line with the EEC. It's impossible to equate how much you can drink to get up to that limit, because it obviously depends on your age,
As your video
your weight,
says,
and
you
so on.
can line up
Exactly.
drinks on a bar, and everybody's different. As far as I know, 10% of the drivers are young drivers, and they account for at least 25% of all the accidents. Now, it's obvious, really.
Yeah.
Somebody listens to you, they do all this, they pass the test, then they drive like a bat out of hell half the time. So how can you help them?
Well, because especially with the video in particular, we've made with lots of the police footage intermingled, some transport research footage showing that with the crash dummies, things that actually can happen. And I think actually seeing it, you know, visually will have some impact on these youngsters and hopefully make them think about their driving.
And how
being
important is the
responsible.
motorway section? Because you can't practice that, can you?
Exactly, that's right. I mean, and obviously most people nowadays, once they pass their driving tests, the first thing to do is want to go on the motorway without any extra training. So hopefully this will help in some way to give them an idea and hopefully go back to a professional instructor for a couple of lessons afterwards.
We've got a whole pile of leaflets and videos here, but what's this little thing on the top here, Ian?
Well, actually, we recently won the Prince Michael Road Safety Award. We're the first and only theory test package to win the award, and basically it's for outstanding services to road safety. Okay. We're absolutely delighted to get that in June of this year.
An innovation, and I'm sure we'll see a lot more of it. Thanks for joining us.